Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Marinex back at it again. Best new EDC gear so far in the summer has been pretty dope. I haven't done one of these videos in a while, but I want to talk to you guys about some stuff I've been checking out lately. First, let's start off with the Ace Beam P20 Mini. Listen, this is the little brother to the Ace Beam P20. I've had the Ace Beam P20 for about 2 years now. They dropped the Ace Beam P20. They both have the same lumen output. It does seem like they have slightly changed the color temperature just a little bit, right? So if you look behind me, this is the Mini. This is the OG, the bigger one. And they just feel kind of like, I don't know. The spot beam does feel a little bit different. If I hold those still right there, you can kind of see that they do feel quite a little bit different. But they both are very good functioning flashlights when it comes to being one of those flashlight. I call these like a bump in the night type of flashlight. Ace Beam sees you using this as a duty light, and that might be a possibility. You know, you do have the rear tail switch, you have the side tail switch. When you hit the rear tail switch, you get the instant turbo mode. The difference with this one between its bigger brother, they've incorporated USB Type-C charging directly into the flashlight. On that bigger brother, you have to unscrew the tail cap, pull out the battery. This is now only one P27100 battery versus the two. It still has a threaded front end, so if you do have like a colored lens you want to put on the front, like a green lens or something like that, you can still use it for that. And this one has a slightly different holster than its big brother. This one here does kind of have more of a duty style holster, whereas you can keep this in your belt. And then if you need to, you have the ability to grab it from a belt very easily versus the way that they had the setup for its big brother. I think I'm going to try this out for different purposes around the house to see how am I going to like this. How's the functionality of it? It's almost kind of big to fit into an EDC bag. I'm not really sure how that would incorporate. I do see this more for like the cab of my truck, or sitting on a nightstand, grabbing it and walking around the house. So we'll see how that goes. We also got from good old Loop Gear, the SK07. This is what they also kind of want this to be, a tactical flashlight, not really a duty flashlight. I don't know if I'll do a full review on this one. It's not really impressing me so far. The user interface is a little wonky, right? So if you want this to come on without a strobe a certain way while the flashlight is on for 2 seconds, you got to unscrew the rear tail cap and it goes from tactical mode to duty mode. And if you want it to go back to duty mode, you got to, while the flashlight is on, twist the rear. It's a little complicated. I put mine in tactical mode and I left it there, but it does have 2 different modes that it can do. If you don't have it in tactical mode, you don't get strobe light. I wanted strobe just to see how it would go. Duty mode gets you all the functionality of low, medium, high, turbo, all that with no strobe light. So I did want that. Other than that, it's an aesthetically pleasing looking flashlight. Maybe you could use this for duty. It does get freaking hot, I will tell you that. It does have a nice high lumen output. I do like the beam spot on this. The pocket clip itself, it is steel. I do wish it had more friction. If you're going to be a pocket clip that's going to be reliant on a belt or something like that, I want you to have like a lot of friction for this type of flashlight. We'll see how it goes because I'm a big fan of the SK05 Pro Mark II. So the SK07, which I've never even heard of until they reached out to me to send one out to me. I guess I'll see how that goes as well. Maybe we'll keep it in the cab of my truck and see how that goes. And then the little brother to the Nikkor P27IX is the Nikkor P17IX. Still gets that same lumen shield output. This does it for less time because it does have a smaller body than the P27. Still comes with a holster, still comes with a battery caddy. If you don't use the incorporated 27100 battery, you can use, I think, CRK 123 batteries in this, or AAA batteries if you want to run this. So it does have a triple or tri fuel source technically, because you get the 27100 in here, which is proprietary. I don't like that Nikkor. You can't throw any 27100 in here you want, but you can use the battery caddy and use AAAs or the CRK12s. This is the thing. I like this flashlight. I don't like the built-in USB-C cable that they have as a lanyard. Just, you can't put this around your wrist, but it does make sure you always have the charging cable with you. But if this is truly going to be a duty flashlight, you're going to want to lanyard around your wrist so that you can actually hold it by your side. Because a lot of people, at least the guys I know in security, the way they use these type of flashlights, they literally just keep it around their wrist, walk around, and then if they want to let the flashlight go, they let it dangle or whatever. They don't often keep it in the belt, especially if they're actively checking, a boat dock, an office building. You're going floor to floor. You don't really keep it in the sheath. You're walking around with the flashlight. But we'll see how it goes. Those are some of the bigger flashlights that we've gotten so far. Some of the smaller ones that have been recently released. Ace Beam also came out with the uniform. This is the uniform Charlie 3 Alpha. This is like a 900 lumen backpack camping type of light. They really envision you putting this on your bag, to turn it on the RGB while it's hanging from the back of your bag. Someone behind you can identify you as a hiker or a camper or something like that. So that's why they have this flashlight, this side light here. It does have the LED or the RGB. So it's really just up to you which one you want. You can change through the different RGB modes just by triple tapping or double tapping. It has a built-in battery, which I think is a AAA size, or you can use the battery that comes with it, which specifically is a 1044 battery, which is going to have more output than a AAA. But if this battery dies, you can put a AAA in here and still continue to use the flashlight. So that's going to be a good thing. Of course, you do have the fuel source on the front, and then the rear of the flashlight is magnetic, and it includes a lanyard. Dual switches. It does have an auxiliary mode. It does have a dual LED main light. Decent light. We will see testing wise, because you would wear it on the shoulder strap of your bag or dangling off the back of your bag. This is really what they envision is for, is more of a camper style, identify me on the trail type of light. So we'll see how that goes as well. Some flashlights. Those are all in the banger category. We got to talk about some packs. But before we even talk about like these little affordable bangers, we got to talk about Veer and their S5 Tactical Field Watch. I have been really enjoying wearing this watch as I continue the renovation for my pool. We got it plastered. Unfortunately, as I filled up the pool the first day, fired on some of the jets, even though I had my pool pressure tested, we discovered some leaks. Well, guess what? When you got a pool, what you got to do to get to a leak? You're either drilling through concrete, or you're digging, or you're doing both. A lot of digging has taken place around my pool, and I've been out there helping out. This is one of those watches where I don't give an F if it gets dirty. I don't care if it gets dirt all over it. I don't care if there's ants crawling all over me, because this thing easily rinses off. I still am able to clearly read the time, even if I have half my arm down a newly dug hole in my backyard. I can still see the date, so I can write a check to the pool guy or whatever. Very easy to read watch face. I don't have to worry about this thing dying on my wrist like I would a smartwatch. And I don't care that it's in the mix, that it's getting dirty, because it cleans up and it still works well for when me and Mrs. X go on date night to do karaoke. Like, it's that versatile. And I like the price point of this bad boy. Fantastic lume. The only difference between this and its bigger brother, the C5 Tactical and the A5, the C5 is powered by light. It recharges with solar. This one's a traditional battery. And of course, the A5 is a kinetic mechanical moving watch, but they all look fantastic. This one has a little bit less weight to it because it doesn't have as many components, but you're still getting a very good watch band, a couple of them actually. And what I most like about this, it rinses off very, very easily. Check the links down below for this pricing on this S5 Tactical Field Watch from Veer. Shout out to Veer for sponsoring today's video. Now, one last flashlight I want to talk about. It's not new, but it's new back to me, okay? Finally, Manker Light has replaced my EOS 5 Mark II. It took me doing a short about their product and that short doing some numbers for them to finally say, oh, our bad, can we send you another flashlight? I don't like that Manker Light because everyone can't do shorts. Everyone can't do Instagram Reels. Everyone doesn't have a small following on YouTube. So if I had this headache getting a replacement warranty for my flashlight, I mean, to the point where they had me doing stuff on back and forth via email. Like, did I try to try a different battery? Did I try to do this? Did I try to do that? I'm like, I'm not doing all that. I'm not buying another battery. I know I could put a AA, and I'm not doing any of that shit. So I still love this flashlight when it's working, but the experience I have getting a warranty just give you a lot of caution if you're picking up anything from Anchor, anything at all. Okay, I just want to give you a word of caution. Speaking of a word of caution, I like Nextool. These multi-tools have worried me a little bit when I put them to use, but I wanted to talk to you about them anyway. So we have the F12 mini flagship. This is like a little mini multi-tool. You could keep on a keychain. It does have the functionality of still having some butterfly pliers on it. It does have a big pair of scissors. It has pretty good functionality. This one I don't really have too much concern about. It's a small multi-tool. What do you expect for it to do? It's going to be opening packages, tightening it up, screws that you see loose on a socket or something like that. Maybe being able to help rip apart something that you're working, whatever. This is not going to be something that's going to be knocking your socks off the mini flagship. I think it's a good price, but the flagship, this bad boy, okay, I have different colorways of this. I tried to deploy this working on pool stuff in my backyard. The biggest thing I have with the functionality is that this thing is very, very, once it has mud on it or it has water on it, it becomes extremely almost unable to hold on to it. It becomes very slippery. One thing I've noticed about like my Leatherman multi-tools is like they have just a little bit of texture, whether it's the surge, it has a little bit more grittiness to it. So is the Leatherman Free P4, that even if my hands are muddy or dirty, I can still use those multi-tools and I can still use all the tool elements of them. I have one of these, not this one particularly, but I have a different color I've been using in my backyard. And yeah, when mud is introduced to any of the tool elements, it starts to kind of like not be the best. So this might be a good multi-tool to keep with you if you're not going to be getting your tools super dirty, if you're not going to be hard using them. They've come out with these in multiple colorways. So check these out if you want something that has a good pair of pliers. These also butterfly style if you like that, replaceable cutters. But it does have some of the biggest scissors that you're going to see on a multi-tool, period. And that might be something that you're a big fan of or something that you're looking for or whatever. So if you want to get after it with a big pair of scissors, if you're doing a lot of cutting of like zip ties and shit like that, maybe you want to be able to use that. And that might be something that might be right up your alley. Man, a shit ton of knives. Now, a lot of these are just kind of like knives that have been kind of like introduced to me. They're not necessarily new, but they've been something I've been able to check out. First, I did finally get a replacement for my Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Now, the thing about my PM2 is that mine is the S45N, great blade steel, but also working in my backyard near some acid. I was acid washing my pool one time. I messed up my blade to the point where it's just super jacked up. I mean, the tip is jacked up. It doesn't sharpen very easily. I started to create a little smiley face when sharpening this thing one time. I love this knife. I love what I did with the scales, these G10 scales. I did take like a topo design to it. So I like that a lot. But I ended up getting the Magna Cut version, the salt version actually, of the Spyderco PM2. So see these G10 scales, I have a CNC machining. They're very, very well made. I love just if you're going to get anything from Spyderco, you're trying to figure out which should be the first one I try X, which one should I do? I would say grab yourself the PM2. Once you work it in, it's going to be buttery smooth, just like mine is after working it in for years. Of course, I just got this one, so it doesn't necessarily, not snapping as much as the one that I've had for years, right? So I can kind of sort of almost get to it. But once you work it out, it's going to end up working just like this. It's going to be a fantastic, work it out, kind of get used to getting those washers worked in a little bit, and you're really going to enjoy this knife quite a bit. And then we also got to talk about the Micro Jimbo. I almost mispronounced this one, but I do like the salt version of this. It's small, it's petite, it has an aggressive shape at the end. So if you're doing utility cuts and stuff like that, it's going to be really great for grabbing the blade like that. Magna Cut blade steel, G10 scales, going to be great to use around water. And it's this small little made in America knife that I'm a big old fan of. I like the wire pocket clip. This just seems like a nice small monster. I think I actually like the way this action is out of the box, like even compared to the PM2. And even as you work this in, it's going to be even more and more fun just to be able to have this little thing with you at all times. This might be a state, you might be in a state where you need a knife that's a little bit smaller for legal purposes or whatever. That might be something that you may want to check out and just be able to take it to town. Next Tool is trying to come out with some knives. They sent me version 1 of this. They made some changes. This is called the K40 knife. This is a knife. Now, I will say their version of the crossbar lock it's okay. You know, it works well. The knife has good action out of the box. I just don't like knives that are trying to do more than one thing. Okay, so this one is rocking a 14C28 in blade steel. I don't know how the heat treat's going to be on this. I'm probably going to give this knife away. This is like a giveaway knife that I'll give to a buddy, especially somebody that's always using fasteners. So if you're always going to be using a bit driver, maybe you can have this with you at all times. You have the ability to tighten up small bits. If let's just say you're the type of person that's always opening up sockets or something like that. Maybe you want something like this that at any moment you have a Phillips and a slotted screwdriver with you. And then on the other side, you have the ability to cut some shit if you need to cut wires or whatever. I mean, I doubt you would grab this out of your truck first. If you are an electrician, you're probably going to grab, you know, your wire strippers, which literally has most of the functionality of this minus the ability to open up, right, the junction box. But you know, whatever. So it seems like a decent little knife. It's probably going to have a great price point, and it's made of G10. So you might want to check that out as well. So these are not new, but I did want to start to pick up and think about some budget bangers that are button locks, whether they're liner locks that are actual accessed by a button or actual button lock knives. So I did pick up the Civivi Elementum, the button lock version, and I like the action on this. I do wish it had a thumb stud. And then I got the Cubit, which also has the button lock. Both of these have been really nice. I like the Cubit a little bit more. It's actually kind of more fun to snap, and it's really just, it's a snappy, thonky, nice knife, right? And it does include a bottle cap lifter. If you're at a party, you can kind of use that in there if you want to be able to open up some suds with a buddy or whatever. Some budget bangers. I think these are going to be some fantastic knives if you're looking for something. This one is rocking is it the 14C 28N blade steel on the Cubit? And then on this one, it should be the Nitro V for the Elementum, which I've always been a fan of the Elementum. I like the Elementums that have the thumb stud a little bit more. The action on this one is fantastic, though. So it doesn't really matter which one you decide to check out. I think you're going to be a big old fan of these quite a bit. Civivi's still always coming out with some of the bangers. Now, I wanted to highlight, now, I will say QSP came out with a lot of knives, almost to the point where it was just like, God dang, y'all are not playing around. This first one here, the Mantis, okay? All I've literally done with this is open it and just literally pull it out and take a look at it. So I like the blade shape. I do like the G10 scales. I don't know how it cuts. I haven't even had a chance to do that yet. I like that it's a thumb disc. And I like the fact that it does have like this little texturing on it. I don't know if that's jade or if it's just uncolored G10, but I like that with the very, very back of the knife that's kind of working off as like a baby backspacer. And so I think this might be a knife that you might want to check out, especially if you're looking for something for Nitro V. If you've been just wanting to see someone touch this knife, feel on it, get their hands on it, you've always been wondering about it, but you don't know like what was going to be the final makeup. That's what I'm doing these next knives for, because a lot of these are probably just going to be give them away almost immediately, right? So this is the Coyote. This one here, I like the look of this. This is, what is this? This one is the foiled aluminum G10, I believe. So it's G10 with the aluminum foil on top. It does have a very unique design. This one, it is okay, so it's a button actuated liner lock. And I really like the way the scales look. I mean, it's nothing super special about the knife beyond that, but it does have a very nice looking scales and it feels pretty good in the hand. All right, so I'll give them that. So that might be something that you may want to look at as well. Now, out of all of these, the one that I've actually been able to put in the pocket for a week, the one that got some test time and I've just threw back in the box, has been the Elk. Now, the thing about the Elk, I got all these knives from QSP. This is the one that like drew me in to actually want to try it out because I like the way it looked when it came out the box. It cuts really well. It didn't have any issues with me. I did have a little bit of anxiousness when I took this working around mud because of the crossbar lock. I just get nervous. Anything that's on ball bearings or has a crossbar lock, I don't like working with in muddy environments because it's a lot more components and parts to gunk up. So we do have the Spitfire pouch that is coming in from Roaring Fire. And they've expanded their line a little bit more when it comes to their pouches. They've really been just killing the game when it comes to pouches. I first bought their Pico pouch years ago, and I like that pouch. It was dope. Ever since then, they've come out with the Pico Pouch Pro, and they've came out with the I think this is the Burgos, the Brios, and I like this one a ton. Now they've come out with the Spitfire, which is obviously a little bit bigger. It's just a little bit bigger, but I'm assuming you're gonna get a little bit different functionality out of this one. All right, so with the Spitfire, you have a built-in, or maybe it's a removable. Yeah, it is a removable like coin purse or whatever the hell you want to use that for, right? The layout on the left is exactly the same as the other pouch. The layout on the right has a zipper instead of slip pockets. So they got rid of slip pockets for this removable pouch thing right here. And that might be important to you. Maybe you have something in there like a small toolkit, maybe some bits to you. So you have a Leatherman in here. Maybe you keep the bits inside. You could just rip out this, take the Leatherman and these bits to whatever hell you're working on. I don't know why you couldn't just take the whole pouch with you, but whatevs. That might be something that you want to check out. It has more loop panel on the front instead of cutting it off halfway. So it has a zipper in the front. The zipper doesn't have the weather lining on it, which I prefer. I don't think you need that on a pouch. It's not going to be really sitting out in the rain like that. And the way they inlaid that around some leather, I think that looks pretty good. Then the very back of it is molle with slip pockets instead of slip pockets and loop liner. Okay, so that's smart. I like the fact that you make this so that you could mount this to another bag if you buy the straps, or you can use the slip pockets back here. So same exact setup on this. It's just going to be about which colorway do you like. So I can see these being some useful pouches. I might even decide to freak those out and see what we can do with those. Speaking of pouches that I freaked out lately, Vertex came out with the Ghost series, their little organizational pouch, which is actually very slim and very just usable. I've been using this for a while, along with some of the new dop kit that they came out with and their new travel bag they came out with, the Weekender bag. This is very well organized. I like the fact that you have the slip pockets on one side, a big area in the back for whatever you need it for, pin in the middle. A lot of pouches come with this layout, right? Difference with this one is it's a very slim pouch, even when full of gear. Mine's completely full of gear, and it's basically the size of this Brios, right? With no gear inside of it. So they did a really good job of slimming this up. Has a very good grab handle, so you can walk with it from your bag to whatever job site or whatever you're about to use this on. You can kind of just keep this down, set this down. You're going to be able to easily know, oh yeah, that's my crap right over there. It has very subtle branding on the front. I really like this pouch. I like what they're doing with it. Hopefully we get to see more of it. Now, I don't know if Wingback has already released their tool roll yet. I know they were teasing it. So if I'm talking about this too early, my bad, Wingback, but you sent it to me. So, here we are. But this is going to be a handmade tool roll, right? And so I like this clasp. Super dope clasp in the front. I haven't put anything in it yet. I'm just telling you, I like the functionality of this clasp in the front. So this is going to be something where if you have a grab handle on the back, if you have just a couple of tools you're taking with you, you can come out, lay your stuff here. You can a couple of pin slips, a large slip pocket here, a button right here, which holds more of your gear, whatever you want to put down here, and then a large zippered pocket at the very, very top. So this is a very elegant pouch. Okay, so just a couple of things you may have. You can use this all the way from your shaving kit to a small, like a precision screwdriver set type of kit. It's probably going to work well. Made of wax canvas, has very, very good finishes on it, and it's handmade. It's made in the UK, so it's actually a pretty dope fit to it so far. Speaking of being made in the UK, they also have the Everyday Pack version 2, which it was on Kickstarter 4 years ago. Ever since then, they've been making these by hand, so they don't come out very often. But when they come out, they sell out, and they're very, very well made, okay? So this thing here is made of wax canvas. It does seem like they've come out with some very thoughtful designs. I need to get this on the back more because I need to understand why this bag is more than $400. Okay, it's a pricey boy, but first thing that lets me know why it's over that price is they're making them by hand. But people will not necessarily buy your stuff made by hand, especially when they hear the price point. So I'm thinking it has to do with the way that they've decided to lay stuff out in here that's really attractive to people. Okay. So I'm going to test this out. I'm going to let you know, like, hey, is it worth the price point? Does it make sense? What I'm saying so far, I kind of am liking the layout of some of these pockets and where they have some of things put at, but more to come. Right? Titanium hardware doesn't necessarily draw me in immediately. Being handmade does draw me in. So, and I also like the metal fittings on this. I'm liking that it includes a chest cinch, I believe. I hope it has a chest cinch inside the bag. But we'll check that out and see where that goes as well. So I recently picked up the most popular bags in Eppley Stock's lineup, which are the switchbacks. Okay. So if you get this colorway, you get the Molly on it. Okay. And if you get the blue, you don't get the Molly, but it looks a little bit less tactical. Both of these can be used for CCW purposes. They're directly competing with Vertex. This has to be their most popular bag for some reason. I'm going to test it out. I'm probably going to test out the slick version that doesn't have the Molly on it. I like the way this blue is popping. This shit is just really fire. I will say this. This shit in the back, this padding in the back, bro. Chef's kiss. Y'all are killing it with the padding in the back. So we'll see what this is like. It very, very much gives me competitor to the Ready Pack X, to the Gamut type of series. There's just been a lot of dope bangers that have come out in the month of July. This is the last day of July, and I was just like, you know what? Before we go into June and I getting more crap to talk about, more gear to even think about, let's just like really wrap up some of the bangers that I've gotten a chance to use, and some I haven't. Some of these QSPs are never going to see my pocket, but some of this stuff 100%, especially this Ace Beam P20 Mini. Yeah, I can see you in the cab of my truck like today. Okay. Let me know what your favorite thing was that you saw here today. And also let me know what you're looking forward to coming out very, very soon. First time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grave. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.